What's going on, guys? Vic VP back with another Game Case Arcades video. On this one today, I hit 2,000 subscribers. We got a request form in talking about TeknoParrot and Taito Type X. So real quick, big shout out to you guys. Again, the subscribers. I hit 2,000 subscribers. I mean, yes, it doesn't sound like much, but 2,000 subscribers is 2,000 subscribers. So again, big shout out to you guys. Remember, I do read the comments. Some negative, I don't care, but most of the positivity out of the comments is awesome. Whether it's you guys asking about arcade builds, even some people typing about their own builds. That's so cool. Again, I do read all the comments, and don't be afraid to comment because I will comment back. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Vic_VP. I'm very active on that. You can see the stories. You could always DM me. A lot of people do message me and ask me some questions or ask about, some details. I'm always quick to answer all the messages. So again, big shout out to you guys. 2,000 subscribers. Let's do it for more. So on this episode today, I got a subscriber, a viewer. Basically, I got a request form on my website. He went to the description, found my website, and sent me a request form. And he said, "Hey, Vic, I'm having a very difficult time getting TeknoParrot games to run and Taito Type X. Can you help me out?" So this video is going out to Christian. We're basically hooking him up with Taito Type X and TeknoParrot. So this is going to be basically a tutorial on how to get the games going and such. Again, I always say it in all my videos, PC builds especially, it is never a simple copy and paste duplicate. It's never that simple. So basically, again, this is a tutorial to kind of get the ball rolling for Christian. We spoke in emails, we discussed what we could do and such, and this is basically the result of it. So again, like I always say, it is never simple copy and paste. There is always going to be work to be done. That is why I never sell only hard drives. It's too much of a headache. It's going to wind up with me team viewing in no matter what. So again, stay away from pre-sold or pre-made hard drives. It is never plug and play. Remember that, it is never plug and play. Basically on this one, we're going to be going over a couple of things, Christian. So it's really to show you how to get the ball rolling as far as inside of TeknoParrot and my personal Taito Type X. Everybody's is different. Everybody has their own drives. They have their own setups. There are a couple of Taito Type X games inside of TeknoParrot. I personally don't have my setup like that. Basically, a game that does not need an emulator, which in this case is TeknoParrot. I have it totally separate from TeknoParrot. Basically, my Taito Type X act like actual PC games. You just launch one executable file, and that is it. It launches. So for example, on my wheel, I have Tekken 7 that is under my Taito Type X wheel because you just need to launch an executable. Other people have TeknoParrot launching Tekken 7. I don't have it like that. I don't need the emulator to launch Tekken 7. So again, there are a lot of differences and such. Everybody's build is unique. Now, real quick, as I get ready with all this, Christian is running a big box setup. Let me just adjust my camera. Cool. Christian's running a big box setup, and in my video when I was talking about my 40 terabyte beast that I made, I was venturing into the idea of big box, and I'll be honest, I pulled the brakes on it. I'm not a fan of it. Maybe I'm just too used to hyperspin. Yes, I could set big box up to work with rocket launcher, which I was doing that, but then I just stopped because I don't know what it was. I did three simple emulators. I did three simple emulators: SNES, the Atari 2600, and the Atari 78 or 7200, and it wouldn't even exit the emulator. Like, I pressed escape one time, and most of the emulators just exited the ROM, but they didn't actually exit the emulator. I read into like forums, especially with the Atari 2600, you had to put some script in, and I just called it. I said, yo, this shouldn't be that difficult. Maybe I'm thinking of it as difficult, but that was just ridiculously difficult for no reason whatsoever. So on that note, let's go back to what we're doing with Christian. So Christian, basically we got him a hard drive. He sent me a hard drive, and on this hard drive, there's going to be basically two folders. One is emulators. That's running TeknoParrot. Always, forever, remember, always have a backup. So I did zip WinRAR my TeknoParrot folder. Now, just real quick, because I did want to test a couple of games. my original TeknoParrot folder here, I did not update TeknoParrot. Some of the games wasn't launching, so I said, you know what, let me just update TeknoParrot, and the game's launched. So right now, this folder here is with an updated TeknoParrot. The WinZip, the WinRAR one, is not updated, just so you know, Christian. So basically, there's only one. It's emulators, TeknoParrot. The other folder here is ROMs. These are basically everything here from Taito Type X to Sega Ring Edge, which is TeknoParrot. And there's also a couple of games that you must paste to your C drive. So keep that in mind. Right now, I don't have the time because it's about 400 gigs. If I were you, Christian, once you get this, either zip this way you have a backup just like your emulators, just to be safe, or just make a copy of it. I'll start first with TeknoParrot. TeknoParrot is fairly straightforward. So you go into the emulator folder here, and as you can see, these are all my files here. But your main one you're going to focus on is this one right here, which is TeknoParrot UI. That's the user interface for TeknoParrot. This has all the games loaded up right here. So I'm not going to say all the games. I don't have all the games that are on this list. You might be able to find the games and add to them. I would say out of all these games, maybe 2 or 3 don't launch. For example, Afterburner Climax, for some reason, I've never gotten it to launch. I have the files, but it doesn't launch. But this part right here is going to basically show you what you need to do as far as getting the games to work. So big one you said that you wanted was Batman. So basically we're gonna use Batman as an example. Basically you're gonna click on your game, and the big thing is that you're gonna go to game settings. This is the biggest deal right now, because once you put the hard drive in your computer, I right now have it set to the G drive. My webcam is behind it, but I have it set to the G drive right now. As you can see, we do have the game executable. It's very important to stay focused on this, and also you need to follow this. So any game that you see with the C drive, that means that it should be on your C drive. So again, if I do go back to my ROMs folder and I do have a C drive thing, this right here should be on your C drive. So real quick, I'm going to go to my C drive, and I do have this Sega Ring Edge folder. And as you can see, for example, one of them is Batman. So the big thing I'm trying to get at is this right here. Be sure to follow this exact line to get this game running. Again, this is copy and pasted from my personal hard drive, so it might be using my drive letters, but anytime you see the C drive, that game should be in your C drive. So let me not do Batman. I'm going to probably do a game that I probably didn't do just yet. Let's do, for example, we could try Rambo. So Rambo is a shooting game. It's not really a good example either, because shooting games I do have launching the Mule Shooter. That, again, you're going to have to do the research on that, but we'll use Rambo for now. So I'm going to click on Rambo. I'm going to click on game settings. The big thing is right here, this. Maybe when you do plug in the hard drive, it might go into the F drive. You could do that, but you should still do it for each game. So basically, I'm going to click on this executable, and I'm going to follow this exact line exactly how it is, okay? So for example, your hard drive name is Element, so that's the G drive. So I'm going to go to the hard drive. I'm going to go to ROMs. This says now to go to Sega Ring Edge. This says go to Sega Lindbergh. This says go to Rambo. Goes to Rambo. Disk 0. Rambo D. Oh, I'm sorry, ELF. Sorry, ELF. Rambo D. Make sure you must. If you click the wrong one, you're going to now lose this line, and you might have to reload my old TeknoParrot emulator. So right now, I saved the settings. As you can see, it went to the G drive, and basically now if I launch the game, it should launch. This might give you an error about the Mule Shooter. Just be ready for that. This is a shooting game. My shooting games do run the Mule Shooter. So let's see right now. And as you can see, again, TeknoParrot right now is running. It says initializing, so it's going to do its thing. Let it do its thing. I'm always the type to just let it run. So as you can see, it did run. You could also see right here, it's not in full screen. So you should always do it. It's basically Alt and then Enter will bring it to full screen most of the time. As you can see right now, I am not getting it to go to full screen. So if I do hit escape, there might be an option inside of game settings that you could do 1080p. As you can see, display mode, full screen. Other thing, like I said, at least we saw the game launch. That's great. You can go to your controller setup and then configure your controls. Apparently, again, the new TeknoParrot update allows for like Wiimotes and dual Wiimotes. I haven't touched this yet because I've yet to get a customer that wants a Wiimote kind of setup. I use the mule shooter. But that's basically it. You're going to basically just copy and paste that same exact process. I already did House of the Dead 4 just to show you real quick. So you're going to click on House of the Dead 4. You go to game settings. Again, you still might have to do this. As you can see right now, it's reading off the G drive. If you plug it in, maybe it goes to the F drive. I don't know. But basically, you want to do the same thing. So you're going to go to your elements, which again, G drive, and just follow it. It goes ROMs, Sega Ring Edge, Sega Lindbergh, House of the Dead 4, Disc 0, Elf, HOD 4. Like make sure you do this one. If you double click that one now, who knows, you might not have made a note of what it really is. You might have made a mistake. So just be very, very careful with that. Same thing, you could always see, leave these settings alone how I had it set, and then just launch the game and just make sure that it works. If you can't do the Alt-Enter for full screen, as you can see, TeknoParrot does have full screen and windowed options and all that. So this right here is usually a very good sign. Once you see that it's running and, you know, we got this Patreon message, this right here is a good sign. House of the Dead should be okay. It is now up to you basically to get the controls to work, or the buttons and the mouse and all that. We escape out. Another one, again, like I said, you could go down the list. Transformers, you go to game settings, same thing here. Again, find your hard drive, ROMs, Sega Ring Edge, ROMs, Transformers, Transformers, good. EXE, again, I know it's set good on mine, but I'm just doing it for the example. TF Gun R Ding. TF Gun R with the dump. See that? We have two of them. Make sure it's the dumped, save the settings, and then launch it. Again, I can't stress it enough. As you can see, there are a bunch of games. You're going to have to just do that on your own. Now I'm going to do another one real quick, only because I'm looking at it here. Not many C drive games. It's mostly the Fast and Furious, the Snowcross game, which me personally, I never got Snowcross to work, and Batman, which is a game that you requested. So as you can see, we're good to go. I'm going to just escape out. And again, from there, you could play around with the game settings. Be very careful, though. I'm the type, I would take a picture with my phone, and then you can mess around with these, because if you unclick something, the game might not work anymore. So just keep that in mind. Real quick, again, if you do go to the Fast and Furious ones, again, if it says the C drive, it has to be the C drive. Anything that starts with the C drive must be the C drive. So as you can see, if I go, this says something about Snowcross. I think that's like X Games Snowcross. Yeah, here, Winter X Games. You could see here, C drive. So as you can see, like this one here, it's C drive Snowcross. So you should have a game here, a folder that says Snowcross. So if I go here, see this, I should really move it over, follow my line. That's honestly it. As far as TeknoParrot, that's pretty easy. Again, go through the list. You might get a couple of errors, again, especially if you are looking at shooting games, because I do run the mule shooter on my setups. And that's really it. TeknoParrot set. Now we're going to look at Taito Type X. Taito Type X is it's fair. It's not easy. There is a lot of sitting down and kind of configuring. So get ready for that. Again, it is never a simple copy and paste. So it is within the ROMs folder. So I'm going to go to your hard drive, ROMs, Taito Type X. As you can see, we have all the games here. So these are all the games that will launch on their own. They do not use any emulator whatsoever. There is a folder for C drive. So you should cut these exactly how it is and just move it to your C drive. So as you can see right here, like Aliens goes right to the C drive, just the way you see it here. Okay, so go to C drive, you could literally cut this or copy it really, and then you go to your C drive and paste it just like it is there. Okay. Now, this is going to be kind of a thing that you're going to have to pause the YouTube video, bud. I'm going to launch my, again, I use Hyperspin. So this is my rocket launcher file here. The big thing is that I'm going to go down the list of these games, and I need you to take a note of this right here. This is the application. This is the game file that launches the game. So be sure to launch this exact file. If you try to launch anything else, it will not launch, or you can mess up something. I'm going to show you a good example, which is, for example, Street Fighter V Arcade. This is Street Fighter V Type Arcade. If you look carefully off the bat, there's 2 executable files. And a lot of people might just come here and just go, oh yeah, Street Fighter V, boom. No. I'm going to go slowly. You're going to go one by one. But we are talking about Street Fighter V, so let's just see how I have that one set up. So that's SF5. As you can see here, this is the line. So I'm going to bring this here. So as you can see, it's Taito Type X, SFF5. That's where we are right now. Again, a lot of people would press on that executable. No. Street Fighter V, binaries, Windows 64, Street Fighter V EXE. That's going to be what launches your game. So let's take this part of the video right now. I'm going to slowly go one by one. And again, you'll have to just pause the video. I don't got that much time, and I don't want to bore too many people. So whoops. Sorry. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Again, I can't stress it enough. You must be looking at that line. As you can see, some of these are .bat. Some of these are .exe. Some of them aren't even like anything with a dot at the end of it. That's more TeknoParrot, I should say. Again, as you can see right here, Fighting EX, Win64 Shipping EXE. So again, be sure that you are pressing the right one. G attack. And as you can see there, please, I can't stress it enough. You must make sure that you are doing it. Haunted Museum is a shooting game. So I do have, what's going to be difficult actually about this Haunted Museum is that I am running, I'll do it later. Let's go down the list. I don't want to go too crazy because I'd rather you just watch this part of the video just for the application lines. And as you can see, for example, like this right here was pulled from my 40 terabyte drive, and it looks like my drive was set to the O drive. It's not going to be like that for you. It's basically going to either the G drive. You could make the drive letter if you want. I didn't really do it for that setup. It was more of a simple copy and paste. I'm sorry. Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter, Tekken 7, Tetris, Time Crisis 5. Almost there. Done. So that part of the video right there, basically, again, this will determine what game you launch. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. Okay, it's not going to be too drastic, but it is something that you have to keep in mind. What was I going to do? I was going to talk about, let me show you real quick about the Haunted Museum. So Haunted Museum, as you can see here, these dots basically mean that it is the C drive. I don't have it on this computer. This is my test bench computer. But basically, if I go to Taito Type X C drive, if I go to Haunted Museum, on this wheel is, where is it? Haunted Museum HM. Oh, this is right. So the issue with this one here is that this is actually launching a document. It is a, what's the word I want to use? An AHK file. It's a green kind of logo. that's because it's set to launch the mule shooter. So keep that in mind. Same thing here with like Haunted Museum. It's basically set to launch an AHK. I believe that was the name of it is. Yes. So there's a lot of stuff here. So for example, you can see here there's a game original. There's another one here. You got launch this. This is kind of a bad example, but again, it is a shooter. So it's going to launch. It's going to look for the mule shooter and stuff. So at least you do have the files for it. Let's start with the basics real quick. So big thing to understand with my Taito Type X is that there's two program types. There's jconfig, and then there's another one which was like type X. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I'm sorry, pad config. So there's jconfig, pad config. So here's the big thing, and you're going to have to do it for every game. I suggest doing it for every game. Basically, let's look at Street Fighter V Type Arcade. And again, if you go back to the video, and you do see, so if I do go to Street Fighter V Type Arcade, I'm going to locate this right here. I'm going to go to the file that we're going to execute, right? So Street Fighter V Arcade, Street Fighter V, binaries, Windows 64. Now, the big thing here is that where this executable is, there is a jconfig program or an xpad program. You have to launch this. And within this, you have to configure your buttons. As you can see right here, I have this set up for actual arcade sticks. And as I was basically doing this for you, I was testing a couple of games. Some of the games didn't launch. That was because it was looking for the joystick. So you might have to actually come in here if you're using a keyboard, go in here and basically set these. If you're using an Xbox controller, go in here and set these. I'm going to press OK. And basically, again, Taito Type X runs where you only have to launch this executable. Just like it is here, I'm launching Street Fighter V EXE in this folder location. And again, this right now is reading off of the hard drive. Now, some of the games I launched and it just crashed. It would just exit out. It was mostly because of the jconfig, your joystick inputs right there. There you go. You see that? It crashed. Game crashed. So a couple of reasons why, and again, that's why nothing's ever copy and paste. I don't have a joystick. So it says here, create thread for joysticks. If I uncheck that, save it, and then launch Street Fighter V, it actually will launch. It should launch. And that's, again, something that was it literally like I was here and I was like, why doesn't this launch? It launches usually. Why doesn't it launch? And as you can see now, it launched. So again, firm believer, nothing is ever a simple copy and paste. Now, on this jconfig, there is a thing to set up to exit. Right now, if I'm pressing escape on the keyboard, I can't exit this game now because I didn't configure it. You're going to have to press the Windows key and then exit. As you can see, this launched. I had to do something inside of jconfig. Again, that is why I'm a firm believer that nothing is ever a simple copy and paste. So Windows key, right click, and then you exit. That's the jconfig one. So again, you're going to have to play with it. As you can see, if you scroll down, see this exit. This is set up for me personally on my arcade sticks. I don't know if you have arcade sticks, you're going to have to set it up accordingly. Let's do, for example, Tekken. So Tekken 7. And again, you go back to where that location was. So Tekken 7, Tekken game, binaries, Windows 64, Tekken game, Windows 64. So again, there's another one here, jconfig TK7. So this right here, it's actually reading, I did it because I wanted to test it. I set this to keyboard commands. So as you can see, 1, 2, up, down, this is the arrow keys. I press OK, and I run this executable. And there you go, we have it. This one's going to go, good morning. If I have my Elgato set up. 3, 2, 1, and nope, I don't have my audio. Oh, I got the headphone jack on that. But yes, it's all good. I have this set to keyboard. So I'm using like the number 2, the number 1. and escape exits out because that's jconfig. That's, again, mostly a lot of it is jconfig. The other one is this right here, pad config. Basically, again, the way you should really do it is that you should go into each folder and do it individually. If I run pad config, it's going to bring up this, and basically you're going to have to sit here and then, put in your key inputs. So up, down, and such. Again, mine is set to the arcade sticks. Once you do that, you find out this is what King of Fighters XII, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, King of Fighters XII. So 2 I's, right? That's what we're on. Yep. This says to launch King of Fighters launcher. So once you do the pad config, it's basically to configure your joysticks. Your game launches. There you have it. There was another one. Let me see if I could find it just real quick. There was another one that looked like a command screen style. So as you can see, jconfig. And that's honestly the big thing about this kind of folder. It's basically games that launch on their own. You'll take a look at Silent Hill. So same thing. Again, though, remember Silent Hill is a shooting game. Let's see. I'm trying to see. It was like pad config, but it would look like the command lines. Oh, here we go. Right here. Type X config. So that's another one. So if I launch type X config, right here, is this a Mahjong panel? So you're going to press N for no. Are you going to use a 4-way joystick? No. Low res monitor? No. Remat, you just press enter here. And now it's going to do like, okay, what do you want for up? What do you want for down? So this is basically you configuring the input. So that's the one I was looking for. This is type X config. So we had pad config, type X config, and then jconfig. Again, never simple copy and paste. That's honestly it. I mean, again, TeknoParrot, Taito Type X, Christian Buddy, send me an email if you ever need help. VicVP, Game Case Arcades.